Hi, I'm James Lancaster, editor of Association Meetings International, and I'm at the meeting show in London with Claus Raasted, director of the College of Extraordinary Experiences and overpaid consultants Rockstar. Is that right?
I prefer the term overpaid rockstar consultant. It sounds more fun.
Yeah, it trips off the tongue a bit better.
That's at least
it?
what it says
Yeah.
on the webpage.
Okay,
but yes.
Well, thank you for being here. You've been involved in the show for the last couple of days. How's it going so far?
So one of the nice things about when you start out a show is everything is going well. And since we're about an hour in, everything is going perfectly. I, of course, hope we keep it that way. But for now, all's good.
Well, we'll see how it goes. So I wanted to talk to you a bit about AI and innovation around AI. But to start with, we did some research recently. Cvent and North Star do some regular research. And it showed that only 1 in 4, I think, event planners are using AI in the event planning process. Does that surprise you? And why do you think that might be?
So first off, it doesn't surprise me at all. And second, I'll demonstrate why I think part of that is. So we're going to play a little bit of a word game here. That is, if I start a sentence, you finish it. Mm-hmm. If I say, I am wearing, and this is, you're not saying Batman suit, but like what word could come after that? Like, I am wearing...
Casual clothing.
Excellent. We try it again. I am wearing...
A swimsuit.
I am wearing...
Bad clothes.
Excellent. Now that's how AI functions. That's how a large language model functions. There's no intelligence in that. And what it is that if you just type into your ChatGPT or whatever you're using saying, I am wearing, then one time it'll say swimsuit, one time it'll say shoes. It will probably not say meatballs. It will probably not say haiku poems. It might say shame, but probably not, right? But that's not intelligent. That's just grabbing into a grab bag of random things. But if you do it with AI, if you do it with ChatGPT or something like that, and you write in, tell me what I'm wearing, I'm a man, 45, blah, blah, it will probably give you answers you can use. And when you tell people that, then they're like, oh, but that's not intelligence. Oh, then I'm not afraid of talking to it because there's no it. It's just a grab bag. It's a randomizer. But it's a very, 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 very good one. That means that if you write in, tell me a story, you can get anything. But if you write, tell me a story about how I should communicate to my audience in the meetings industry, be inspired by Cvent, be inspired by the meeting show, be inspired by North Star, how should my marketing plan look for my conference? Then it gives you da-da-da-da-da. But it's still the same underlying functionality. And I think part of what keeps people from using AI is they are afraid that it's intelligent. It's not. It is just this random grab bag, but it is so good that it seems like it is intelligent.
Right. Has it got anything to do with the fact that people aren't thinking computationally about it? They're not. They're sort of asking them straight questions and being disappointed with the answer. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, and I'm saying that one of the things my better half, who's a digital illustrator and a writer, says very nicely. She uses AI for quite a lot of her stuff. And she says it's like working with a very patient, sometimes drunk freelancer. And that very patient side is important because if I go to you, James, and say, James, you're a brilliant writer. Can you write me a bio for my next talk? And then you write something, Klaus is blah, blah, blah. And then I say, okay, it's good, but can you change it a little bit? And you change it a little bit, it comes back, and I say, okay, this is good. We're almost there, but can you change it? After 5 iterations, you're ready to kill me. And I am ready to stop asking for more because while you are patient, you're British, right? So you're patient to the extreme. 5 iterations is kind of, that's where the knives come out. With AI, you can do it 50 times, you can do it 100 times, but most of us don't. So one of the superpowers of AI, second iteration, is that it is so patient. Patience is not even a thing, so you can just keep on saying, give me another, give me another, give me another, give me another. But most people are not comfortable in that way of thinking, so they don't use that. They say, write a text for me, and then it gets there like, oh, it's not what I like. So instead of saying, give me another, they're like, oh, this thing doesn't work, right? So that part, the incredible patience, we're simply not used to people being incredible patient, and because we treat it like a person, like an intelligence instead of like a machine, then that comes into play.
I was speaking to the senior creative director of DRPG the other day, Tommy Moore, and he said one of the problems was people were using AI, generative AI, stuff like ChatGPT, to do their thinking on the platform. And his suggestion was that people should do their thinking old school. They should do it in a Word document. They should do it, amongst friends around a table. and decide what they want from AI to start with. And his argument was that people are just jumping on it, AI, and expecting miracles where, like you say, it can't think.
It can't think, but what it can do, I agree completely with what he said, because what it can do is if I go to you again, I say, James, I'm having some trouble in my speaking career. I don't know how to talk to clients. Then you will come up with a lot of ideas for what I could do better. You will ask questions. We will have a conversation, and within a couple of minutes, maybe half an hour, I'll have some good insights. I can do the same with my chat GPT. Now, it's not you, but it has some of the collective knowledge. But if I say, generative AI, I'm having trouble, where do you go from there, right? Where if I ask you, James, I'm having trouble, you'll say, oh, Klaus, is it your speaking career, or is it you as a parent, or where are we, right? Because you think. And generative AI does not think. It does not think, but it responds to what you put into it by being this grab bag. And I think that if you treat it as a person, then you don't give it enough information. Where anybody who says, hello, here's what I'm trying to do, here's what I'd like your help with, it will then be useful, whether it's a recipe or it's career help, or I sometimes write, here's a situation I was in, here's how I feel, what am I missing from the other person's point of view? I would like to be convinced that I'm wrong. Please give me some things I haven't realized. And then it says, well, maybe this person didn't know, or maybe this person thought you were lying, or maybe there was lack of, whatever it is. And I could have asked a friend about that and gotten some of the same answers, but I'd have to be precise with the AI, where the friend thinks and knows me and puts me into context.
Yeah.
For the AI, there is very little context. For humans, there's usually a lot of context.
A lot of people talk about AI and they talk about saving time, efficiencies. It's about doing stuff quicker. Is that what it's all about? Is that basically why people are on AI? It strikes me as a kind of pretty limited framework of looking at something like AI, saving time. But is that ultimately what it's about?
So I think the first thing to say there is, apart from, and I think I've said enough that AI isn't AI, so forgive me on that, is that we don't know what the hell this is. We don't know how to talk about it. Even the fact that we're calling generative AI is, for most of us, that means ChatGPT, maybe it's picture software, maybe it's Sparks, maybe it's something. So right now, we have no idea what it is. We don't understand it. And that means that we're trying to put it into things that we understand. It's like, what can you use a car for? Oh, it's like a horse. Oh, I get it. I can ride it. Okay, good. Then I understand that. But if you said to somebody, this is the steam engine, then they're like, what does it do? It's noisy. It's dirty. What does it do? It's like you can put it in something with wheels, and then it's like a horse. Oh, I get it. Or like a wagon. Oh, it's a wagon without a horse. Now I understand the steam engine. Where, no, you understand the application of the car to a certain degree, but you definitely don't understand the steam engine. And we're trying to understand the steam engine by talking about the car.
Where does AI fit into the innovation piece? You're big on innovation. How can people use AI to innovate?
One of my specialties is innovation culture, because when we talk about innovation, generally we talk about technology. Innovation equals technology. The reality I find is that a lot of innovation is done within culture or behavior, and what holds us back is often not the technology, but the culture around it, the behavior around it. So I'd say that the first thing here is that in innovation, it's not going to take us long before we stop talking about using AI, where it's just going to be the default. Like if you do a presentation, then you're not going to say, I used a computer to do this presentation. That's kind of assumed. If you instead stand up and say, I painted this painting using my teeth, then people will say, wow. So it's a hashtag teeth painting, because that's a differentiator. You don't say, I painted this using a brush. So I think the first thing...
So you think AI will become we don't talk about people using computers anymore, we don't talk about offices having access to the internet anymore. You see a stage, how far away from AI just being part of the fabric of everyday working life?
It's already here in some places, and in some places it's not there at all. But I think a couple of years at best, we will stop seeing. My first book using AI, I wrote a book on AI a year ago with an AI expert using AI to write that. Then I wrote one for myself where I said, here I used AI for parts of it. Now when I write, I don't tell what I use AI for. I don't let anything out the door without me being able to stand by it. But To me, it's just now part of my writing process. And I think for a lot of things, whether you're an artist or you're a CEO or like, did you write this report was done using AI? Well, you probably not. And even if you did, you ask people, do you use AI? They say no. You say, oh, you don't use Google Maps? Well, of course I do. So you use AI, right? It becomes meaningless to talk about using AI. What the conversation becomes, how do you use it? What do you use it for? And where do you not use it?
Because there is still a kind of stigma around using AI, specifically for creative endeavors like writing or whatever. People want to say that, no, I didn't use any AI in the making of this. Do you see that shifting, or do you see people wanting to hold on to their kind of sense of agency when it comes to writing?
So one of my favorite innovation stories that I recently discovered is that in the period between the First and the Second World Wars, all militaries around the world were trying to figure out, okay, what do we do about airplanes? What do we do about tanks? What do we do about like mechanized stuff on wheels with tracks? Like that was a big thing. They all had cavalry. First World War showed that cavalry, not super efficient when the others have machine guns and tanks. What do we do? In the U.S. military, there was one of the cavalry generals who said, no, this tank stuff, that's a fad. That's going to go away. We need to have more horses and less tanks. And that was as late as in the 30s, where he was one of the commanding generals of the U.S. Cavalry Force. And he said no, because horses had 2,000 years of tradition, and people liked their horses, and they thought horses had, and in some senses, it made sense. Now, this guy kept that standpoint until 1956. 10 years after the Second World War ended, he said, we should have cavalry, not armor. Or maybe cavalry and tanks, right? No matter what happens, somebody's going to lose out. And when we lose out, especially when there's also identity into it, or money, or prestige, or fame, or whatever it is, then we are going to fight against it tooth and nail. The people who we have coal miners fighting to say coal is clean because they want to keep their jobs. I don't think they think coal is clean, but they like their jobs, right?
Yeah. It's a bit deeper than that, though, in the sense that people want to feel job satisfaction. So they want to feel as though they own something. They want to feel as though what they've produced is something that's come from their own head. And there's something slightly demotivating about saying you can just do it all on AI, or AI will make your job easier. Maybe people don't want their job to be that much easier. I don't know.
I'm not going to speak to you here, James, but I'm going to speak to you. Do you use spell checking? Do you not want ownership of what you do? Oh, you're an artist. Do you use like paint? Do you buy it in a store so you don't mix your own paint? You're a 16th century ancestral artist would look at you and say, you use somebody else's paint? You don't want to own your painting? Like, what are you even? Do you even artist? No matter where we are in human history, we will have that problem. Now, this time, it's bigger than most of the time. But anything from mixing your own paint out of the herbs you got yourself in the backyard to creating your own food, or using Insta-Bake-A-Cake things, to using AI as the kind of thing that takes you from the blank page, and then you're an editor, or writing the report and then you double check it. Whatever it is, there is always that's kind of schisma between those who say this is the true way of doing it, and the new people who are saying, oh, I don't care anything about that. I care about getting it done. And it's no different than it was 500 or 1,000 years ago. It's just this time it's of a bigger magnitude, but it's essentially the same debate.
And final question, where do you see the biggest sort of advances in the events industry for AI? Where do you see AI making the most inroads, the biggest impact? Is it going to be on the planning side of things? Is it going to be the content side, or the logistics, or the whole lot?
I think the biggest place where AI is making a difference right now is it is letting people get tasks that they hate or they don't know how to do, get them done. Like, can you give me the report, or I want to do this event, can you give me a rough budget with sources, or things like, for the people who are not already used to doing it, right? Not the experts who know, but the juniors, it's a good shortcut. But where I really think it has a major advantage, and sadly I don't see this used a lot, but start doing it if you're not, is opening up let's just use ChatGPT. That's not all of AI, but that's the car, right? Let's talk about the car. And saying, I'm doing this thing, here's what the plan is. Can you give me 10 things that might work that I haven't thought of? whatever it is, whether it's a meeting or a client pitch or an event or sustainability or DEI or whatever it is you're trying to do, it's basically saying, give me some ideas that I haven't already tried, because normally people hire overpaid rockstar consultants to do that sort of thing, and the problem with us is we're overpaid. So AI, for a $20 subscription, you don't get me or you, but you get pretty far. And that's not going to change the TMSs or the North Stars or the Masks or the Disneys, because luckily, they want us. But for the people who are three guys doing a conference and would like some professional help, they get pretty far, whether it's with the image generation or with the event production or the budget specification or the tell me about visitor flows or the DEI initiatives. You can get pretty far by using this patient drunk freelancer, as Sue calls it.
A patient drunk freelancer, I like the sound of that. Claus, thank you very much for your time. For now, that's all from the meeting show.